Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and this is Open Mic. Now, every day on the John Campea Show, that's our main movie news show. We talk about all the stuff in the world of movie news, and we save a little bit of time for some live questions. But here on Open Mic in the afternoon, that's all we do is just taking live questions, because I know how much everybody likes to talk out loud and all that kind of stuff. So, whole bunch of things going on today. We've already got a bunch of questions coming in, so let's dive right into it. The first question today comes to us from Luna Comics, who writes, "Oh, great and wise John, I come to ask you, what is the secret of the universe? Kidding, just messing with you." Well, there are two secrets to the universe. One is the number 61, and the other is to crush your enemies, see them, what's the word? I just quoted it the other day. To crush your enemies, see them, something before you, and to hear the lamentations of the women. What's the second line? To crush your enemies, see them, something driven before you. I can't even remember what the line is, but that's the secret of life in the universe right there. All wisdom comes from Conan. All right. Next up comes from Ben Kenobi, who writes, "Do you believe the report about J.B. Smoove being J. Jonah Jameson? If you do like this, do you like this if it's true? I do completely different from J.K. and J.B. is hysterical on Curb." First of all, I haven't seen any reports saying that he is J. Jonah Jameson. I've read one or two speculation articles saying, hey, what if he's playing this? But I haven't read any reports personally. Maybe you can share a link. I haven't personally seen any reports saying that he is playing that. However, he would be a good J. Jonah. I mean, put aside the color of his skin. Everything about him just kind of screams J. Jonah Jameson, right? Everything about him. You could totally see him playing that. Now, I think a big splash announcement. I don't think you just find out later he's playing that character. I think if he was playing J. Jonah, they would have said that. I think they would have said that right off the bat. Right? I don't think you announce the actor, then 5 days later announce, what character he's playing. I think you come right out for a character like J. Jonah. You come right out and you say, this actor is in the movie and he's playing this role. Like I feel like that's something you do all at once. So while I do think he would make a pretty darn good J. Jonah, I would have rather seen J.K. Simmons come back, of course, but I think most of us would. But I think it would be a perfectly good one. I just doubt that it is, only because I feel like that's something they would have announced right off the top. But hey, look, I'm not going to fall over with shock. I am definitely not going to fall over with shock or surprise at all if we find out in a few days or a few weeks that he's actually going to be playing the publisher of the Daily Planet. I wouldn't be shocked about that, or the Daily Bugle, I should say. The other superhero does the Daily Planet. I wouldn't be shocked or surprised at all if they actually end up saying that. But again, right now I'll say I doubt it, because I feel like that's something you announce all at once. But I do see it as a pretty good fit. It would be a pretty good fit. So let's just see how that kind of turns out. All right. KW Garrett writes, hat tip to chat room. Deadline reports Mary Poppins. Oh yeah, I heard about this. Deadline is reporting that Mary Poppins has moved to the weekend where Bumblebee, Aquaman, Welcome to Marwen, Holmes and Watson is being released. This is insanity. Yep. Apparently, okay, so first of all, the end of December, we all know is a crazy bunch. In 1 week, we've got, what do we got? We got Mortal Engines, the new Peter Jackson film, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The very next week, on the 21st, we've got Bumblebee, Aquaman, Alita Battle Angel, I should say, Welcome to Marwen, and Holmes and Watson. 5 films all opening up. And then the following week was going to be Mary Poppins. Well, scratch that. Now they've just moved Mary Poppins to the same week as Aquaman, Bumblebee, Alita Battle Angel, all in the same week now. Now, whereas Aquaman, Bumblebee, Alita Battle Angel, Holmes and Watson, Welcome to Marwen are opening on Friday the 21st, they're saying that Mary Poppins is going to actually open just 2 days before that on Wednesday the 19th. So it looks like that's what's going to be happening there. So, okay, but still, essentially, it's all the same week now. So now, on that week, you've got Mary Poppins, Bumblebee, Aquaman, Alita Battle Angel, Holmes and Watson, and Welcome to Marwen, all opening on the same week. Insane. Is there anybody left out there who doesn't think Aquaman should move release dates? Is there anybody out there who doesn't believe for a second that Aquaman wouldn't make more money on any other weekend? They'll make more money. They'll make more money. This is crazy. Honestly, I don't even know what Disney's thinking. I don't know what they're thinking. Moving it even closer to that big cluttered week. It just seems like insane. Look, one of these major films has to move. At least one of them has to move. And, you know, I've been saying for a while, I think the smart money is that Aquaman should move. I think that would be the brilliant decision on their part. I think they'll make a lot more money on another weekend. But yeah, with Mary Poppins moving even closer to them, it's just silly now. Like, now it's just dumb. It's just silly and stupid at this point. Like, how much is opening on that 1 week? It's just absolute lunacy. All right, let's move on here. Luna Comics writes, John, in your opinion, what non-fast food chain restaurant has the best burger? Yes, I am hungry. In my opinion, I am by no means a burger connoisseur. I don't actually have burgers all that often, but a chain place that's not fast food, I gotta go Red Robin. Red Robin makes a damn good burger. Whether it's their Royale burger or the, what was the name of that one that I really like? But at any rate, so my thing would be a chain restaurant that's not fast food. And again, I am no burger expert, but a chain restaurant that is not fast food, the best burgers, I'd have to go Red Robin. Red Robin's, I'm really impressed with Red Robin's burgers. I like them a lot. They do a great job. Okay. Ben Rayner writes, a year of working for yourself. How does it feel? Loving it? Yeah, it's been just about, just a couple of weeks ago, marked the 1 year anniversary of me completely working independently and working for myself. To say it's been great would be a massive understatement. First of all, you know, I'm ahead. You guys remember way back when I said my 1 year goals have 100,000 subscribers, have 1 million viewers a month. Well, here we are. We're at about 2 million, roughly around 2 million views a month, and we're closing in on 130,000 subscribers. So all my targets have been hit. I'm super happy. I get to work in my own studio for myself, answering to nobody, taking direction from nobody. I've never been happier. I'll just be straight up. I've never been happier working. I love what I do. I love what I'm doing. Now, look, there are some benefits that I don't have because I'm not with some company or corporation. Absolutely. And there are things that I miss out on. For sure there are. But do I get more out of the deal? Oh, absolutely I do. Like, I would encourage anybody, if you can feasibly work for yourself, work for yourself. You'll never be happier. If you can do it and it's feasible. I happen to be in a position where it was feasible for me. It's wonderful. We're successful enough that I'm able to have like fact checker Jonathan work with me, and Ray now works with me, and that's great. So yeah, honestly guys, and I get to interact with you guys every day. I mean, it's just the best, and I get to work from home, and I'm very lucky. I'm never going to discount just how lucky I am to be able to do what I do, and I love it, and it's all thanks to you guys. So a special thank you to all of you guys who watch this stuff. Thank you very much. Let's see. The number Thor writes, thoughts on what happened with Brock Lesnar and Daniel Cormier after his title victory? Do you think they will fight, and will Lesnar win in your opinion? Oh, let's be very clear here. Brock Lesnar has no chance. He has no chance whatsoever in the world. Not at all. Brock Lesnar is not even a top 15 heavyweight in the UFC. He's not even top 15. Daniel Cormier just beat the most dominant heavyweight champion there's ever been in the UFC. Stipe Miocic was the most dominant. He had more title defenses. He defended his heavyweight title more times than anybody else in the history of the UFC. There has never been a more dominant UFC heavyweight champion than Miocic. He's simply the best there's ever been. Daniel Cormier just knocked him out in the first round. Brock Lesnar, whenever he's fought anybody, the one advantage Brock has always had is that he's usually the better wrestler out of anybody that he goes in there with. He's not a better wrestler than Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier is an Olympian. Daniel Cormier is a better wrestler than the only UFC guy who might be a better wrestler than Daniel Cormier is George St. Pierre, and they don't fight in the same weight class. Brock Lesnar is not a better wrestler. He's a vastly inferior striker to Daniel Cormier. He is an inferior wrestler, something that Brock Lesnar has never had to wrestle somebody, or has never had to fight somebody who's a better wrestler than him. So he simply has nothing. Brock has no chance. None. Not a prayer in the world does Brock Lesnar have. And every UFC commentator knows that, but it would be a big money fight. And I thought what happened in the ring afterwards was fun. I think these two guys actually love each other. I think they actually have a really good relationship. Daniel Cormier is a big wrestling fan. He goes to WrestleMania. So that was all whatever. That was all just for fun. That was for fun, and everybody knows it. So I thought it was great. But make no mistake about it. Brock Lesnar has no chance. Like not a whiff of a chance against Daniel Cormier. Okay, next up, Murray Reich writes, I wonder what Lando's reaction will be when he finds out about Akbar and Han. Well, I mean, we're not going to see his reaction, right? Because by the time Star Wars Episode 9 comes around, it will have been old news. Lando will have heard. I mean, I'll be shocked if they don't have him already know. Because from what I understand, and I certainly don't know this for certain, from what I understand, I think Episode 9 jumps forward a couple years, like maybe 2 or 3 years. It's not going to be like the difference between Episode 7 and 8, where just like a day passes. I think this one actually picks up a couple years later. I think that's what I'm hearing, but I'm not certain about that. Not at all. Not in the least. But especially if that's the case, Lando would have known. Lando would have found out. The galaxy's a big place, but word gets around fast, So I don't think even though we're going to see Billy D. Williams and Lando in this movie, first of all, we don't know if he's going to be in one scene. We don't know if he's going to be in the whole movie. We don't know if he's going to be a major character. We don't know if he's going to be a minor character. But whatever the case may be, I believe the first time we see Lando on screen in Episode 9, he's going to already know. He's going to know about Akbar. He's going to know about Han. I just think he's going to know all that kind of stuff. Again, maybe they'll surprise us, but that's really the way I think they're going to approach that. But it is very cool that Billy D. Williams is coming back for sure. Okay. Rami J. Royster writes, happy to also hear that Jordana Brewster is coming back to the Fast and the Furious. I still miss Paul Walker, though. Boy, do I miss him. Yeah, Paul Walker was not one of the world's greatest actors. But he was great he fitted perfectly into the Fast and the Furious world. And him and Vin Diesel had great chemistry on screen. They had great bro romance relationship. They had a great chemistry together. As buddies, as friends, as family. They had a great chemistry together. And it's going to be hard watching Fast and Furious movies moving forward without Paul Walker, for sure. We've already seen that once. So that is going to be tough. I'll be honest with you, Jordana Brewster, I could take her or leave her as an actress, to be really honest with you. Her character has never been, to me, all that important of a character in the franchise. I think there are 3 or 4 or 5 other characters in the Fast and Furious franchise that are more important than her character. So yeah, and I am curious about how they're bringing her back without what are they going to say about Paul Walker? Are they going to say that the character died? Are they going to say that Paul Walker's character died? Because how do you explain her being separated from him, especially when they have a kid? So it's going to be interesting. It does open up a lot of interesting possibilities. I'll say that for sure. So let's see what direction they're going to all head in. All right. Rami J. Royster follows it up with, Muy Misa no part in Episode 9. Jar Jar. Yeah. Sorry about that. I can't remember which of the novels. There's a Star Wars novel. I'm trying to remember which one it was. But one of the canon Star Wars novels that came out like maybe 2 years ago shows us what happened to Jar Jar later in life. And it's kind of sad. Jar Jar kind of becomes like a street clown, like a street performer. Everybody hates him, probably because I have a feeling it was the author of the book writing a reflection about how movie audiences responded to him. So everybody in the galaxy now hates Jar Jar. He's the one who put forward the preliminary motion to give, emergency powers to the Supreme Chancellor, paving the way for the formation of the Empire and all that kind of stuff. So now everybody hates him, and he does clown work in the street for money and has no friends, and he befriends some kid. It's sad, actually. It's really sad when you're reading it. But it's Jar Jar. He deserves it. So there you go. Screw Jar Jar, man. Screw Jar Jar. Darth Impact writes, thanks for setting me straight yesterday. I just love Thanks for setting me straight yesterday. I just love BP. Is that Black Panther? Trust me, I'm not one of those toxic fans. I respect everyone's opinions on movies. I'm not sure what it is we're talking about. Oh, I remember you were talking about, okay. Yeah, so yesterday, guys, if you're going to make reference to previous messages you sent in, please put in a little reminder, because a lot of messages come in. I may forget about which one we're talking about. If I'm not mistaken, Darth Impact, we're talking about, sent in a comment yesterday about making mention about what a great job Black Panther, the movie, did with its costume design. And Darth mentioned that, hey man, if this designer does not get an Academy Award nomination for Best Costumes, then we'll know that the Oscars have a bias against comic book movies. And what I said was like, whoa, let's pump our brakes for a second here. It's only halfway through the year. Like, we don't know. There could be like 10, 15, 20 other films that come out later this year that have better costume design. We just don't know. And by saying this movie has to, when we're only in July, saying this movie has to get a nomination for Best Costumes or else there's a bias. Well, that's actually us showing the bias, right? So that's my point. But I mean, hey, I get it. I mean, we see a movie. I'm guilty of this too. We see a movie where something incredible happens in it, and like I might have said coming out of Quiet Place, like that better get nominated for Best Picture. Like I remember when I first came out of Quiet Place, I think I might have said to Anne or something, that movie has to be nominated for Best Picture. But then I caught myself later thinking, well, that's a silly thing to say. I haven't seen all the other films coming out this year. There may become a movie coming out this year that is like 5, 6, 7 other movies that are way better than A Quiet Place, right? So it's kind of silly of me to say that. But we all do that as film fans, right? Like we see something extraordinary in a movie and our gut reaction say, that better get nominated for an Academy Award. I mean, that's our reaction. But the reality is we need to take a breath, take a step back and go, okay, that's right. There's still 6 more months of movies to come out that may have tons of them that are better than this one. So we'll just pump the brakes on that a little bit. But yeah, no, I totally got where you were coming from, Darth. Not a problem at all. I totally understood where you were coming from. Darth follows it up with, that's why I love your channel and why you're my favorite YouTube movie pundit and you rock. Oh, thank you so much, Darth. I really appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that. That's cool, man. Let's see. Jay Bling writes, I got my white pants ready for the Deadpool 2 super duper effing cut. You found out what the white pants refer to, right? Oh yeah, I found that out like 3 minutes later. Wait, I honestly have not heard this. Is there something called the Deadpool 2 super duper cut? I honestly don't know this. I don't know if you're just being facetious. Super duper cut. No, apparently that is a real thing being talked about. Deadpool 2, the super duper cut is coming. Okay, I had not. Oh, that's right. That dropped yesterday. I remember hearing something about Deadpool 2. I didn't know that was the news, though. I'm curious about it. I mean, I love Deadpool 2 as it is. So if you want to do super duper cut, that's fine, too. I'm not as excited. You know what, guys? I got to do it again. I got to turn on the AC in here. Sorry, it's super warm in here today. It's like 100 degrees out again. At least it's not like 119 like it was the other day. I'm not all that big on director's cuts. To me, the movie's the movie. Honestly, most of the time, I don't go out of my way to watch director's cuts. I really don't. To me, the movie is the movie. So that's kind of how I feel about it. So I'd be interested in seeing Deadpool 2 super duper cut just because it might have more stuff in it that I didn't see. But for the most part, I'll probably just consider the theatrical version. The theatrical version is the movie. That's just kind of how I see it. But I know a lot of people get really excited about director's cuts. I got a lot of my friends that really, really get pumped and excited about director's cuts, and to them it's really something special, and that's awesome. Maybe you're one of those people too. Just for me, I just consider the theatrical version the actual movie. Let's see here. Next up, Luna Comics writes. Oop, we had a jump. Hold on a second. Where'd Luna go? Okay. Luna Comics writes. What's the funniest question you received in Super Chat? Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. That's something I would have to seriously think about and go back over. I get a lot of really funny questions. I do. But the funniest question I ever got in Super Chat? Whew. Honestly, I have no idea. I wouldn't even know where to start on that. That's not something I can pull off the top of my head. But I've gotten a lot of doozies. I've absolutely gotten a lot of doozies. You guys know that. Murray Reich writes, is Nolan working on a new film yet? You know what? No. To the best of my knowledge, he's still not working on anything new. I mean, here's the thing. He probably is, working on something, but they certainly haven't announced, or he hasn't let people know what it is he's working on now. As far as IMDb goes, he's got nothing coming up that he's listed as a writer. He's got nothing coming up that he's listed as a producer. And he's got nothing coming up that he's listed as a director. So whatever it is he's working on right now, and you know he's working on something, I'm sure, they haven't made it public knowledge yet. They haven't made it public knowledge. Whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be great. And whatever it is, I'm sure it's probably with Warner Brothers. So other than that, unfortunately, I've heard nothing official about it at this point. I think Christopher Nolan right now is playing it pretty close to the vest at this point. Okay, let's see. Ben Rayner writes, 4 Batman actors, 3 Superman actors, 3 Spider-Men, and 1 Wolverine. How did Hugh get so lucky? Well, I mean, it's a combination. It's not all luck. It's just he just was that damn good in the role. I mean, this weird Broadway Australian stage performer came out of nowhere and completely sold us that he was Wolverine. Right from the first time, the first X-Men movie, I was like, yep, that's Wolverine. And I think more unanimously than maybe any other comic book character, other than maybe like a Tony Stark who might be on par with him. But like there was never a Spider-Man that everybody went, this is the definitive. Even Tom Holland right now, who's great, and I love Tom Holland, but even Tom Holland isn't a guy that we all like universally go, this is Spider-Man. Like, I don't even sense that with him. It's very rare that you get these actors that do, and Hugh Jackman just is it for Wolverine. You know what I mean? So partially it's the success of the X franchise, partially it's because he was so damn good in the role, partially it's because he was so committed to the role. Like, look what he did with himself physically. Just always make sure he was in the right shape to play Wolverine. It's damn impressive. So, yeah, it's really neat because we often hear in sports, since this guy's been the coach here, that team had 3 coaches, that team had 5 coaches, that team had 4 coaches. But you're right. In the world of like comic book movies, we've had 4 Batman, 3 Supermen, 3 Spider-Men, but 1 Wolverine over all that time. It's a really good, it's a good observation. Okay, let's move on here. ZOMG Ruler writes, rebooted DC Earth 1, DCEU Earth 2, sets up Crisis. I don't know. See, I hear a lot of people talk about stuff like that. Honestly, I don't think the average movie-going audience would be into it. I think it would be a little too inside baseball. I think it would be a little bit too nerdy for a lot of the average movie-going audience. You know, my mom loves going to see Batman. My mom would not be interested in a Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3, Earth 4, kind of a Crisis crossover, blah, blah. I think even like for my mom, that would be like, that's okay, you guys watch that one. And I honestly think a lot of average filmgoers would be turned off by it. I really do. They've had a hard time putting it over with the TV audience, but the TV audience of CW is tiny compared to the audience you need to come out and support a movie. So I just feel like they would be a little too inside baseball. I think people like me and you and a few others, we'd be interested in something like that. But I think the vast majority of the movie-going audience, I don't think they'd be on board. I think they would consider it a little bit too geeky, a little bit too nerdy. I feel like they would feel like they're being alienated. So I don't think we'd see something like that. I could be wrong. Could be totally wrong. We've seen Stranger Things. All right. Jake Vidmar writes, with M. Night Shyamalan, Glass on the horizon, how did you feel about the twist in Split? Did you feel unnecessary to you, or did you feel like it added a lot? Maybe somewhere in the middle of the two. Oh no, I really liked the twist. I did. And I'll be honest with you, the twist made me, I thought Split was okay. I thought Split was pretty good. It was all right. It was pretty good. Certainly not a bad movie. It was an all right little film. Until the twist happened. Then the twist happened. Then it's like, then it was like more than that. You know? To me, the twist, and this will be different for every individual moviegoer for sure, and I'm just one individual moviegoer. But for me, Split was an okay movie. It's an okay movie. I was enjoying watching it. It's an okay movie. To me, the twist took it from an okay movie to that's a good movie. You know what I mean? That's what that one moment did for that movie to me. It put the rest of the movie in a new context. It gave me a different view of the entire picture, and it took it from being a pretty okay movie to being a good movie. Solid, good movie. And it made me very excited about Glass. Now, I know there are some people who feel totally the opposite than me on that, which is totally fine. But for me as an individual filmgoer, that last twist worked so well that it improved my overall view of the movie as a whole. It really did. But that's just me. You guys may have had a different experience with it, but that's how I experienced it, and it was really good for me. All right, let's move on here. Brendan Mills writes, what is the most homosexual thing you do in public? That's a really idiotic question. So we're just going to move on. Let's see. How many, you know what? Let me just take care of something here. There we go. Okay. So we move on. Bobby M writes, how many people would Rey have killed if she had the gauntlet in the cave scene? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not much one for Star Wars and Marvel mix-up questions. I'm not much one for those at all. So I don't know that she would have killed anybody. I mean, I don't know. It's a pure rockin' fantasy, but I'm sure that Patton Oswalt, if you know the reference, Patton Oswalt would be totally proud of that question, Bobby. Trey MacVell writes, I actually agree with you. Nolan movies do feel the same, which I like, but it is different from Spielberg. I was referring to the genre diversity. Well, yeah, but here's the thing. When I talk about the diversity that Spielberg does, it's not just the genre. It's that every film feels like it's so different and so unique. There's a lot of Spielberg films you could watch that don't necessarily, you wouldn't be able to guess it was a Spielberg film because he makes them all so different. All of his films have such different heartbeats and such different DNA. Whereas Christopher Nolan, they all really have similar DNA. They really all have similar heartbeats and they just kind of feel the same. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Quentin Tarantino is the same way. You can tell a Quentin Tarantino film from a mile away and they're awesome. Christopher Nolan films, you can tell a Christopher Nolan film from a mile away, but it's awesome, you know? So, to me, genre diversity, even then, not so much. I mean, most of Christopher Nolan's films kind of live in a certain neighborhood of genre, right? Kind of a little sci-fi, a little imaginative, the tension, the thriller aspect of it. You know, it's all like, look, the moment that Christopher Nolan does an animated film and then does a comedy and then we can start talking about Christopher Nolan really ramping up and diversifying his genres. Right now, even like whether you're looking at something like Memento and Insomnia, very similar, even in genre. But even if you compare those two to why am I drawing a blank on the name of Inception? Even though there's sci-fi elements to Inception, it's very much in the same vein as Memento and Insomnia and things like that. So even though they're technically in the old Blockbuster Video, one would have been under maybe a thriller shelf, one would have been on a sci-fi shelf, really they're kind of the same genre too. So I still kind of feel that there's not a lot of diversity. There is genius in Christopher Nolan's work, but I wouldn't say a lot of diversity. Even genre-wise, I'd say there's probably not a lot of diversity, as opposed to, say, Spielberg or some other directors, things like that. But that's just the way I see it. I mean, another film fan could look at it and totally see it a different way, but that's just kind of the way I see it. Trip Mac writes, hello, just wanted to say I love the show. So thank you so much, Trip Mac. That's really nice of you to just say that. Okay. Zach Carper. By the way, guys, I do need to keep today's show a little bit short. I say that every day, it feels like, and I still go an hour. But as I mentioned this morning, Ann and I had a friend of ours pass away yesterday, and so I have things I need to attend to. But keeping on the subject of movie stuff here. Zach Carper writes, good afternoon, John. Did you ever reveal the bad news you had concerning the DCU? If so, I must have missed it. Nope. And about 18 people have asked me that, Zach, and I've said I'm never going to mention it again. I'm never going to mention it again. Maybe someday down the future, but nope, never talking about that again. Nope, nope, nope. Let's see. Benjamin Baldwin writes, have you heard anything about an Avengers 3 extended? Yeah, I think I have heard a little bit, but again, I wouldn't give a shit. Like, I really wouldn't care. because to me, the theatrical version is the movie. I don't really care much about extended cuts and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's interesting to see in an Elseworlds kind of thing, see what extended scenes might have been in there and blah, blah, blah. And I know a lot of fans get very excited about those, and that's awesome. For me, I really don't care. The theatrical version is the movie. That's the way it is to me. The theatrical version is the movie. So I really don't care much about extended cuts, but I do believe I have heard that there will be an extended cut available, whether it was like 5 extra minutes or 10 extra, I'm not really sure, but I think I have heard stuff about that. I just quite honestly don't keep my ear to the ground on it much because I really don't care all that much about it. Let's see. Luna Comics writes, my favorite part of The Last Jedi was when Luke messes with Rey with the leaf. Died laughing. Yes, do you feel? Oh, that scene was awesome. I love that scene. Every theater I was in, and not every theater, like out of all the times I saw The Last Jedi, there was one time that the audience just like gave no reaction to the film. But even in that audience, the audience was howling at that moment. I completely agree. That was one of my favorite parts of the movie. It was really, really good. And it showed us the character of Luke Skywalker a little bit. I dug it a lot. Okay. Maurice Cook writes, do you think the MCU should make Submariner? I think you mean Submariner. If Aquaman fails in the movie. As far as I know, the MCU does not have the rights to make and distribute a Submariner movie. So that's irrelevant. If Aquaman fails at the movies, who cares? Honestly, Submariner has nothing to do with Aquaman. They're both underwater guys. Well, yeah, but that's like saying Captain Marvel flies and so does Superman. Therefore, if one succeeds, does that mean the other succeeds? No, they're both comic book movies. The average movie-going audience won't give two shits, honestly, about Submariner or Aquaman, or say, oh, well, if Aquaman doesn't work, that means Submariner can't work. Nah, I wouldn't worry about that at all, man. It will have no impact whatsoever. Now, as far as I understand, the right situation with Submariner are really complex. There was this urban myth going around about a year ago that Marvel got all the rights back to Submariner. No, they didn't. It's still a pretty complicated situation. So I don't even think they could make one right now, even if they wanted to. But let's put it this way. Let's say Marvel has all the rights to Submariner and they can make a Submariner movie tomorrow. If Aquaman comes out and is the biggest flop of the year, that would in no way, nor should it in any way, deter Marvel from doing a Submariner movie. Any more than saying, well, we can't make a superhero movie about a guy with a beard because Aquaman had a beard and his movie flopped. Therefore, we can't have a superhero movie with a guy with a beard. Like, you know what I mean? It's all about making good movies. It's about executing good movies. And I really don't think the average movie-going audience would care all that much. If Aquaman flops, it doesn't mean a Submariner would. If Aquaman is a huge smash hit, it doesn't necessarily mean that a Submariner movie would be either. So when the MCU sits back to look at their properties and what films and what projects they want to move forward on, they're not going to care how good or how bad Aquaman does. That's not going to be one of their considerations. And nor should it be, really. So I really don't think it'll affect it in any way. Let's see. Eric Hopkins writes, do you make a t-shirt to buy that says, do, because every time the super chat jumps, you sing it, do. And I find myself singing along with you. Maybe add music notes. Thanks for all you do. No, I think out of all the shirts I would probably make, I don't think do. I don't think that would probably be one of them. But you know what? I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice that I did that until you mentioned it. And as soon as you mentioned it, it's like, oh yeah, I do that every time. Okay, there's been a jump. Where are we at? Yep, you're right. You nailed it 100%. I absolutely do that. Okay, final question of the day. And then I need to wrap things up here, guys. Final question of the day comes to us from ZOMG Ruler, who writes, did you hear about the Fox shareholders suing Disney? No, they're not suing Disney. I believe they're suing Fox. I believe the Fox shareholder is suing Fox. For those of you who haven't heard, there is a prominent Fox shareholder representing a bunch of other shareholders who are suing Fox for misrepresentation or something like that. I honestly don't know all the ins and outs, and I'm not going to pretend to try to get into it. It's just the latest chapter of drama in this whole Disney, Comcast, Fox wannabe takeover situation. It's just the latest piece of drama in it all. So yeah, I just look up Fox shareholder suing. Just look that up. And now then some people go, John, it's only one shareholder. No, it's not. Read the articles. This one shareholder is bringing the lawsuit, but he's representing other Fox shareholders as well. There's a bunch of Fox shareholders who aren't happy about something. And they're trying to force a few things, maybe even block the take. I'm not really exactly sure 100%. Read the articles, see if you can make better sense of it than I could. But again, it's just yet the next chapter of drama going on in this whole world of the Disney, Comcast, and their fight over Fox at this point. We knew it was going to be entertaining. We knew it was going to be fun and entertaining to watch as this whole thing kind of unraveled in front of us. Okay, guys, that will do it for me for today for Open Mic. Thank you so much for joining me here and being a part of this. Don't forget, guys, tomorrow morning, the John Campea Show returns, 8:30 in the morning, bringing you all the movie news. Make sure you tune in and join us for that. Don't forget, guys, too, we had our question of the day today. Go back and watch the show and answer the question of the day, which was, we know Lando Calrissian is coming back for Star Wars Episode 9, but is he going to live or is he going to die? You guys answer that question. We're going to reveal what your guys' responses were on tomorrow's show. Okay, guys, that will do it for me for today. Thanks a lot for joining me. My name's John Campea, and until the next video, bye-bye.